I had a comment recently on this channel to do more videos with Henrietta here, the Eurasian Eagle owl. She is a very popular bird. She features in one of my most popular videos where I focus on this species, and that one's doing really well. So I thought today what I'd do is I'd take her on what is kind of her day off, show you what I do with her on a day sort of process, and take her out flying as well, and a bit of free flying. We'll see what she does. I'm going to weigh her first quickly. So let's take a look here. So she's coming in at 5 pounds 1.6 ounces. Now really that is a little bit high. Her flying weight is about 5 pounds, but because she is such a big bird, we can fly her a little bit of a higher weight like that and she'd be okay. I wouldn't fly her free at maybe 5 pounds 4, something like that would be a bit too risky. She'd like to just sit up a tree and not come down for a while. But if you've been a viewer to this channel for a while, you've seen that actually this owl doesn't really fly up into trees anymore because she is now almost 22 years old, and so she's at an age where really flying up trees is kind of past her. But I think today I'm going to put some anklets on, because at the minute she's nothing on her feet here, just identity rings. Put some anklets on so I can then attach a transmitter, just because of the nature of where we're flying. A little bit hilly, lots of trees. I don't think she'll be hiding in a tree too much, but I'd just rather do that just in case today, because I'm flying her somewhere a little bit different to where I normally fly her. So the woods are just behind me, and I'm going to start by doing a bit on these posts here, because Henrietta is kind of a perch-to-perch style bird, but towards the end of this video we will try and get her to fly to my glove, and let's see if she will. So for the meantime, we're doing a little bit of warming up on the posts here. There we go. So now I've got her warmed up. She is doing a nice bit of hopping back and forth. The crows and corvids and magpies and such have noticed her. They don't really like birds of prey, but that's fair enough. So I think what we'll do now is we'll try moving into the woods and see if we can do some branch to branch stuff. It's actually a really lovely area here in the woods, and I often take my kids here with the dog as well for walks. Really lovely bit of nature. We've got a river here flowing through, and it's out of the way enough, I feel, to get Henry out again. So we'll just open up the box. Out she runs. So running around is something that she is actually quite good at. Now, owls like Henry here in the wild would live in various different places, more sparse woodland perhaps. This isn't too bad here. Mountainous areas, open plains. They're going to mostly hunt for rats and other rodents, and lots of birds as well, so trees are useful for that reason, and of course rabbits. Now they have been known, as I've mentioned in previous videos, to catch very large prey, small deer, wolves, things like that, especially out in the wilderness of Russia and other parts of Northern Europe. Big feat for crushing the skull, but most of the time it's going to be birds and rodents really. Now, as you can see, she prefers walking and running around more than actually flying, but even at this age it's still important to try and get her to fly as much as possible, even if it's just hopping on top of branches and that type of thing, because it keeps her agile. Now in the aviary she has got different level of perches to jump up and down from, which she does on a regular basis, even though she does spend most of her time sitting down doing absolutely nothing. But these sort of branches and perches are just an ideal kind of perch height to keep her as fit as we possibly can. And of course, flying about here as well is giving her some really good enrichment, not just flying for bits of food, but looking around at the dog walkers passing by. If you can hear noise in the background, there's a football pitch not too far up this end where there's lots of activity going on, which is really overall good for the bird and keeps her nice and tame, because owls have got to be regularly kept out into the open, handled, flown, if you want to keep them really good birds of prey, especially for the sort of display work that we do. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm now going to try and get Henrietta to fly to my glove. Now this is something that larger owls are more reluctant to do, usually. Bengal eagle owls are quite good for it. The heavier and bigger they are, the less likely they are, but it doesn't mean she can't. I've had owls do it before of this nature, but she is an older bird, and you know, can you really teach an old owl new tricks? So what I'm going to do is offer her a full chick, just the head's missing. Now usually if we've got a hawk or something flying to the glove and they're having a big meal on the glove, we would normally pincer it between the fingers there. Then the bird can sit on the top of the glove and eat what's below. But because I want her to see the food, I'm going to pop it right on top like that. Let's see if we can. Get her attention first. Just as I thought, it isn't going to happen. I'll tell you what we'll do instead. We'll turn the camera around and we'll get a slow-mo of her flying towards the camera, down towards the ground. Then that'll look a lot better. Well, that did look pretty good, actually. Oh dear, Henry, what do you like, eh? Come on then. I don't really have a favourite bird. People do ask me that quite a lot. I have certain species I find favourites to fly, and I have those birds that I've had a long time. And of course, Henrietta here, I've actually had her since the time when I actually had hair, so quite a long time. As I say, she's now in her early 20s, but I first worked with her when she was about 7 years old in a bird of prey centre. Now, I did mention in previous videos that I'm going to write a book this year, 2025, kind of an autobiography about all the experiences I've had training different birds of prey and how I've gone from having one owl to essentially one of the busiest, if not the biggest, mobile bird of prey businesses in the UK. And it's kind of a story that has a beginning and an ending in that respect, but has a lot of content within it. And I just know that the front cover really is going to be me and Henry here. But what we really want to do is get a picture of her flying to the glove. Now, I could spend lots of hours, which I don't have, trying to train her to do that, but it's probably not really worth it. So probably going to have to get a shot of her flying in, wings open, with me with the glove open, something like that. But either way, I'm pretty confident Henrietta here is going to be the owl who is going to be on the front cover of that book, because she's just become almost like the icon of owl adventures, really. She's been around for so long, she's so big and beautiful. As I've been here today, the amount of people who have been walking along the path nearby and spotting her and saying, oh, wow, how beautiful, you know, what type of owl is she, what age, and all that type of thing. And of course, even though that's a little bit of a distraction when I'm trying to do some filming, it really is the essence of what I do. People love birds of prey, and if people didn't stop and find her fascinating, well, there wouldn't be a business at all, would there? So hopefully that video really shows exactly what Henry's like when it comes to flying. And that kind of latency I had with her was nothing to do with her slightly high flying weight. If she was at that weight indoors doing a school visit or something, she would have been really keen, flying back and forth, kind of automatically without me having to even offer food, because she's been conditioned that way. Now it is today, on filming this, the 1st of February, and of course it's early in the year, flying show season is coming up, and it's the same with most birds, especially owls. The early flying shows, they are a little bit slow and laboured, but then with a number of shows in completion, they get better, they get quicker and more responsive. And that's because they have to recondition themselves to the outside world. When we're doing indoor things, these owls, which are hand-reared, which means they pretty much think they're people, then they are not worried at all, because out here there's dogs running around, there's birds, squirrels, various things, all kinds of different sounds of nature. And an owl like this is doing exactly what it should, being vigilant, keeping an eye on what's going on, trying to avoid danger. I mean, even though she's an apex predator, she still has to worry about the threats of the wild in that sense. So indoors, they look around and go, okay, there's no wildlife around in here. There's just people, and they're much, much calmer, which is why, in many ways, we do love the indoor stuff. But it's a nice day today. It's not too cold here in early February 2025. What have you seen now? There's definitely something up a tree there she's found interesting. So it's a good day to get her out and give her a bit of flying and enrichment. This video, of course, is only a matter of minutes long, but I've been out here about 2 hours with her, mostly waiting for her to do something. And this is the reality of when you're working with a bird a bit like an owl like Henrietta here. Right then, hope you enjoyed that video. Henry, are you actually going to say goodbye to everybody? Or are you just going to stare at whatever's up in the tree there? Okay, thanks for watching.